Hi, my name's Joel Barks. I'm with the San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance, and I'm here today with our trusty work truck Kermit. Should be obvious from the color of the paint why we named Kermit Kermit. And I'm here with Scott. Scott's doing some filming today, and we wanted to talk to you about tools we use in trail building and trail maintenance, how to safely use them, how to maintain them, how to transport them and store them, and also which tools are the best tools to use for different purposes. So let's talk about safety first. The biggest thing I need to relate to you in terms of safety is that you be aware of the situation you're in. We want you to always wear your protective equipment. So that includes for us hard hats when warranted. But it always includes some kind of eye protection, good work gloves, not cotton work gloves, good leather work gloves, pants that are sturdy enough to resist thorns and minor incursions from tools, and a good set of shoes, not tennis shoes, something that protects your feet. Even better if you've got some kind of toe cap protection. Other than that, being safe depends on your being aware. The other thing I want to talk about in terms of safety is just proximity to the other people that you're on the trail with. One of the things we often talk about is the circle of death, and when we do that, it sounds kind of maybe more serious than it could be, but the issue is how far can you reach with the tool you've got. So if you've got a really long tool and you're reaching out this far, you need to make sure your proximity to other people doesn't put them in danger. You also have to worry about what other people are doing with their tools and protect yourself. So proximity is a big issue. The other thing that's important that I see a lot of people doing that adds some potential danger is how they're transporting tools. One of the things you need to be aware of when you're out on the trail is that if you've got a long tool, you want to carry it with the business end in the back and the handle extending out in front of you, because you know where the handle is going to be in relation to the people in front of you. If you turn it around backwards, you have no idea how fast the person behind you is going, and if you stop suddenly, that could create a problem. One last thing to convey to you about safety is that I often, when I work on the trails, have more than one tool at my disposal in a specific area, but I can only use one tool at a time. The tools that I'm not using at the moment, I always try to lay on the trail with the dangerous end of the tool off the trail and the handle not on the trail, so that I don't create a trip hazard for those that are coming by. So rather than leaving the business end close to the trail where if someone trips, they encounter it, always put the dangerous end of the trail, the tool, away from the trail. Now I want to talk a little bit about tools in general. In trail work, I think about the tools in two different categories. You have tools that are used for heavy work, where you're removing soil, moving rocks, things of that nature. And the tools, there are two types of tools. The light work tools are tools that you can often recognize by the shape of the handle. I would consider this a fairly light work tool, simply because the way the tool is built, the handle is not built to take high impact and being swung hard like an axe or a mattock. So this type of tool, although you're using it, you can be using it in a manner where you're removing soil, you're not swinging it down with a lot of force. And this kind of tool can often have a sharp edge like some of the heavy duty tools. And it's important regardless of how the tool is built. If it's got a sharp edge, you want to maintain that edge. The sharper it is, the better it works and the less force you have to use. There's actually a lot of people who feel that the sharper the tool is, the less dangerous it is. So always keep in mind that you've got tools that are double-sided. So if you're taking a tool with a handle this long and swinging it like an axe, you're creating a lot of potential harm for the people around you. So I always encourage people to keep their tools down, and tools that you're not going to swing like an axe don't really need to come above your waist. Keep them down low, let the tool do the work. don't do it by swinging the tool hard. So I'd like to share a little information with you about some of the tools we use, and the naming of the tools and how to use them. This is a good tool for helping to create trail tread, removing vegetation from the trail. We call this a trail hoe, and it's got a sharper point that you can use to pry little rocks out of the trail tread. And you've got a side that if the soil is loose and loamy, you can use this to move dirt, do bench cuts. This tool is very similar in format in that it's got a broader head. So again, you can use this tool. This is also a hoe, but it's a different type of hoe. It's got the teeth on the back side. It's good for removing loose material from the trail when you're working on trail tread. So if you've had the trail bench cut, or if you're just removing vegetation, it's a good tool for that. So these are typically not what we would call heavy use tools for striking and cutting serious roots and things, but for tread work. This tool is the Mcleod, and this is a very useful tool. It's got a thin material, thinner than some of the other heavy duty tools, but what you'll notice is it's got a broader head. So if you're dealing with soft soil, a lot of loose material, you can move a lot of material quickly with this tool and drag it. You can also use these tines on the back side for leaves and small rocks as well. So it's very helpful when you're dealing with large amounts of material that are not extremely difficult to move. And then we've also got a shovel here, and shovel's fairly straightforward. We probably use it most for removing material from the trail that we've loosened using the other tools. We also use it a lot for loading wheelbarrows and transporting material we're using for projects. So we may be using it for gravel or moving dirt we remove to another site where we need it. I don't have one to show you, but a flat shovel is also very useful. Once you've got the trail tread mostly built up and you need to remove all of the material, the loose material, and broadcast it away from the trail, you can move a lot of material faster with a flat shovel than you can with a spade. Let's check on some of these tools on the other side of the truck. So in the category of heavy use tools, the first I'll talk about is the mattock. And this is actually what we call a pick mattock. And this end is the pick, and this end is the mattock. This is a tool that you use for bench cutting, for rock work. It's a heavy use tool. One of the things you'll see is that this tool has a really broad handle at the head end to absorb the impact for when there's a lot of force moving the tool down. One thing you need to be aware of is that if you look at the other direction, the tool handle is narrow in the other dimension. And one of the things you have to be aware of when using a pick mattock or using this tool, a Pulaski, is this really narrow tool head can be broken. So if you wedge this into a log, wedge it into the ground between rocks, and then exert a sidewards force, it's not that hard to break this tool handle. So be aware of how your tool is built, and that will tell you how you can use it. Thick dimension is in line with the force. The thin dimension means you shouldn't be putting stress on it sidewards. Again, these tools have sharp edges. The sharper you keep them, the better off they'll be. This Pulaski is a tool that's very valuable for root removal, removing small trees and other foliage out of the ground, grubbing them out so that the roots don't regrow and create an obstacle in the trail. And this is a really good tool for that. Sometimes used for bench cutting as well, but for bench cutting, the broader the mattock end is. This is a mattock. This is actually an adze. This is more for cutting, not so much for rock work or bench cutting. So when you're bench cutting, if you want to move fast, you get a broader tip. That's there are a lot of other trail tools that can be used. Just be cognizant of how to safely use them and choosing the right tool, and it'll make the work easier and make your day safer. Thank you.